Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruchakodash. The honors unto the apostles and the elders, the great millstone taught us truth. Shalom also to the Akim, pushing this word in sincerity and in truth, and to the speckled bird across the four corners of the world, and to the few sisters who are listening. To you, I say Shalom. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. I am the brother Kadashi from the GMS Chicago camp, coming back at you with another lesson. And basically what I wanted to go into with this lesson is don't take this truth for granted. You see, because, once you start taking this truth for granted and you start to feel like you got it and you start to feel as though there's nothing else to learn and you start taking the brothers for granted and so on and so forth, hey, look, man, you're gonna be on the fast track to getting out the ministry, man. And not only that, but getting out the truth, man. You see, taking the truth for granted is a very dangerous thing, man. And it also shows a lack of care, because if you're taking this truth for granted, it shows that you truly do not understand the sacrifice that Yahweh did on that cross. Or even worse, you do and you don't care. You see? So with the first scripture I want to get is 1 Timothy 4:13. It says, "Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, and to doctrine." So, Salaki, these are the things that we're supposed to be giving attendance to, man. You see? When we give attendance to these things, they're going to allow us to not take this truth for granted, because if we're constantly giving attendance unto reading, that means we're constantly laying up these words inside of us, right? If we're giving attendance to exhortation, we're constantly stirring up that gift that's inside us, right? And if we're constantly giving attendance to doctrine, then we know that when we dive into these scriptures and the doctrine that these scriptures teach us, then we know, and that increases our hope in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. And that in turn helps you not to take this truth for granted, man. That's why Apostle Tahar said, hey, when guys fall out this truth and so on and so forth, is because they're not reading, man. They're not reading. They're not getting into the word. They're not reading these prophecies, man. Because somebody that's reading, they're going to read these prophecies and they're going to what? They're going to feel revitalized in the spirit. They're not going to take this truth for granted, man. They're not going to disobey the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Matter of fact, the scriptures say that. It says, they shall not disobey his word. It says right here, Sirach 2:15, they that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. So if you love Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, then you're going to keep his ways unto the very end, man. You're not going to take this truth for granted. Hey, the guys that take the truth for granted, what happens, man? You start seeing a trend of weird fucking behavior, man. They start treating the brothers bad. They start fellowshipping. They start to become lone wolves. They don't want to speak. They don't want to speak anymore at camp. They don't want to make lessons. They're being lazy. They're being slothful servants, man. You see? And not only that, but hey, if you truly fear the Lord, you're gonna not disobey his word, man. You're not gonna get disenchanted. You see, hey, that's another thing too, man. The reason why a lot of guys take this truth for granted is because they become disenchanted and they become weary in well-doing. You cannot become weary in well-doing, man. This is something that we're going to have to endure until the very end, until Yahweh Shai comes back, man. It says right here, Galatians 6:9, it says, and let us not be weary in well-doing. That's why a lot of guys, they lose patience, right? They start taking the truth for granted. They think as, because when a guy first comes into this truth and he finds out he's an Israelite, you're all excited about this, man. You're all excited. It's all about the sweet part of the scriptures. But then the more you get into this ministry and the more you start walking with Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the bitter starts to get introduced to you, man. You see? And a lot of guys, they can't take the bitter with the sweet and, roll with the punches. And eventually they start to get too bitter And they start to take this truth for granted, and eventually they go back into the world, man. They get weary in well-doing, man. The bitter gets too bitter for them. They can't see the sweet anymore, man. And really, the bitter is the sweet. You see? So let's keep going, because really the bitter things of the scriptures, that's what's a health to our bones. It's health to our spirit, man. Knowing the bitter and the sweet, and taking both together, and going with it, man. You see, running with it, not taking this truth for granted, man. It says back in Galatians 6:9, and let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So if you want to reap life everlasting, if you're looking for that crown, if you're hoping for salvation, if you're looking towards Yahweh Bashim Yahushai to deliver you from this place, man, then guess what? You're only going to receive that if you faint not, if you don't take this truth for granted, if you keep pushing back past all the things that have happened unto you in this truth, man. You see? Because things are going to happen to you in this truth, man. They happen unto you for what? For the furtherance of the gospel. And Paul said that, man. And we're gonna read a little bit about what happened to Paul, man. Because hey, guys get disenchanted and start taking the truth for granted, right? When their fucking woman leaves them, man. Something as simple as that. A woman leaving you. A fucking woman leaving you, man. And now fucking niggas want to lose their mind and start taking the truth for granted over a fucking woman leaving you. Over a bitch, man. Think about that. There's men that have fallen out this truth over a bitch, man. Sometimes it's bigger things. Maybe their whole family leaves them, which you got to put yourself in the shoes of a brother, man. If a brother has lost their whole family because of this truth, man, you got to really see hey, man, you don't know how much that brother must have loved his family, but look how much he loves Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, that he's still willing to be in this truth and fight for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and lose his family for that, for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai's sake, man. You see? Those are brothers that have true passion for this truth, man. Willing to lose everything else, or willing to lose everything in this world to gain everything in the next one, man. And see, a lot of guys can't think like that, man. A lot of guys start losing their shit when little things happen to them, man. Like losing their job, bro. Or other things, man. You see? But let's see what Paul said about that, man. Because Paul lost a lot of things. Paul went through a lot of things. So let's see what he did. Let's see what his mindset was towards those sufferings and pain that he suffered, man. Let's see what he did instead of taking the truth for granted, right? It says right here, Philippians 1:12, it says, but I would you should understand, brethren, that the things which have happened unto me have fallen out rather unto the furtherance of the gospel. You see, so instead of being in a mindset where, oh, woe is me, this is happening to me, they start taking the truth for granted, start fucking bitching up and shit, man. Instead of doing that, he said, these things have happened unto me rather unto the furtherance of the gospel. You see? So, hey, next time something happens to you, man, think about how you could use this situation to further the gospel, to further the good news, man. How you could use this to your advantage to transcend the pain that you're feeling right now, to turn it into something good, man. For the ministry, for the brotherhood's sake, man. For your sake, man. So that you won't fucking bug out and start taking the truth for granted like niggas that fall out, man. And you don't want to be a fallout, man, because when you fall out, you become fucking worse than when you were in the world, man. All right? It says, verse 13, so that my bonds in Hamashiach are manifest in all the palace and in all other places, and many of the brethren in the Lord waxing confident by my bonds are much more bold to speak the word without fear. And that's the good that came out of it, man. See, Paul could have bucked up and started to get emotional and start taking the truth for granted and start blaming the truth, right? Because that's what some guys do, they start blaming the truth for the things that's happening to them. When Yahushua warned us that these things would happen, he warned us so we wouldn't be offended. You see, he told us these things so we wouldn't be offended. So instead of doing that, Paul had a different mindset, man. You see? And not only that, but he also realized and saw through the Spirit that what? That brothers were waxing more confident by his bonds, by the things that he was going through, man. And not only that, but they were much more bold to speak the word without fear, man. When you are going through something and you are able to power through it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai and get out of that situation, and you're still going to the line, you're still making your lessons, you're still going to class, you're still rolling with the punches and being diligent in this truth, man, that strengthens other brothers, man. Brothers are gonna see that, be like, damn, man, look at that brother, man. Like, man, that bro's still going hard, man. Look, he's going through this, that, and look at him, he's still hot, bro. And I'm thinking about a brother right now, man. A brother I'm thinking about right now, man. And he still be going hard for the Lord, bro. You see? Now let's read what Paul was going through, man. Because, hey, what Paul was going through wasn't light, man. It was a very heavy thing what he was going through, man. He was suffering, bro. You see? It says right here, I'm going to start off at 2 Corinthians 11 and 23. You see? So after you read this, man, think about it very carefully, man. If you're taking the truth for granted, man, I don't know. Hey, man, I don't know what else to tell you after this, man. Because this man went through all of this. Paul went through all of this and did not take the truth for granted. If anything, this strengthened his faith, man, and made him more bold for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. So whatever you're going through, man, find a way to turn it into something positive, man. Stop being in that woe is me spirit, man. All right? Stop that, man. It's time to push those feelings of, just it's time to put that aside, man. It's high time to wake out of sleep where our salvation is near, man. Put those weak ass feelings aside, man. It's time to go hard for the Lord, man. All right? Not taking the truth for granted. That shit weak as fuck right now, man. Matter of fact, let me read this real quick. It says, this is Proverbs 24 and 10. It says, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. So if you're fainting, bro, if you're fainting right now, man, if you're taking the truth for granted right now, man, that nothing is really going on, right now we're in the green tree, man. Right now, you could go to Whole Foods, go to Jewels, go to, whatever, buy your groceries. You could go get at woman. You could go do whatever you want. You could go to the night. You could do whatever you want, man. Right now is the green tree, man. If you're getting weak right now, before Jacob's trouble comes and all these things are coming right now, man, your strength is small, bro. And if you're in that spirit, man, talk to a brother, man. Talk to a brother so he could exhort you. Pray to the Lord so he could put more faith in you, man. But do something about it, man. Anoint yourself. Do something, man. But do not take the truth for granted, man. You got to fight for this, bro. Do not neglect the gift, man. Matter of fact, now that we're in this chapter, it says 1 Timothy 4 and 14. It says, neglect not the gift that is in thee. Don't neglect this gift, man. It's a gift. Take care of it, man. When somebody gives you a gift, well, you're just gonna take that gift and just throw it to the trash, man? You're just gonna, somebody just gives you a brand new PS5 or whatever, right? You're just gonna take that PS5 and let me just, put it in the trash. That's just something small that niggas see the value of that, right? Niggas see the value of a fucking PS5 or something like a car or some shit, right? But they can't see the value of this word. This word has greater value than anything in this world, man. And you're telling me you're taking it for granted? You're out of your fucking mind, man. It says 1 Timothy 4 and 14. It says, neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy. So it's very prophetic that now we have this gift, man. You see, many righteous men, prophets, and kings have desired to see the things that we now see, man. To live in the times that we are now living in, man. Don't take this truth for granted, bro. We have the spiritual eyes to see what the fuck is going on in the world right now, man. Wake up, bro. Do not take this truth for granted, man. It says with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery, you see, which is the body of elders. So don't neglect this gift, man. This gift is very, very precious to us, man. So now let's read the things that Paul was going through, man. It says 2 Corinthians 11 and 23, it says, are they ministers of Hamashiach? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths often. Hey, matter of fact, Paul died, man. Paul literally wrote about going to the third heaven, man. Paul literally died, man. And you haven't gone through shit. I don't want to say that you haven't gone through shit, because whatever you're going through, maybe it might be a huge obstacle, right? Maybe losing your woman might be a huge obstacle for you. But you need to get the fuck over that shit, man. The Lord is coming back. All right? The Lord is coming back, man. And you're taking the truth for granted because you're starting to lose little things, man. What are you going to do when Jacob's trouble comes and you lose your whole crib, man? Your whole job, man? What are you going to do when the hour of temptation comes and the MOTB is right here and you have no other choice but to take it, man? You're going to take it, man? You're going to take the truth for granted and go ahead and take that MOTB, man? Think about what the fuck, just think about this, man. Because Paul went through all these things, man, and guess what? He did not give up on the Lord, man. And not only that, but he said he had a thorn in the flesh, man. And he prayed about it 3 times, man. And the Lord said, man, let me just get it, man. Let me see, it says right here, 2 Corinthians 12 and 8, it says, for this thing, or I'm going to start off with verse 7. It says, 2 Corinthians 12 and 7, and lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh. So, hey, Paul had infirmities, man. He was going through things in the flesh as well. So, not only did he have a thorn in the flesh, but he was also going through things, dealing with things within the ministry, man. You got to imagine, you got to put yourself in Paul's shoes, man. And he still did not take the truth for granted, man. That's mighty. It says, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. It says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. So he prayed to the Lord 3 times about it, right? And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. So you got to imagine, man. Imagine you got a thorn in the flesh. You're dealing with something, man, and you keep praying to the Lord about it. And the Lord tells you, my grace is sufficient for you. You see? And even after this, Paul wasn't like, oh, man, the Lord, why would he, man? The Lord could just take this off of me. Why I got to go through this? Nah, bro. Let's see what Paul said. It says, most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Hamashiach may rest upon me. You see? So he said, I'd rather most gladly glory in my infirmities, man. Instead of being, I'm just gonna, man, woe is me. I'm just fall out the truth. I'm gonna take the truth for granted, man. Oh, you start blaming the truth. No, man. Paul did none of that, bro. He took it cheerfully. Matter of fact, he gloried in his infirmities so that he knew, because when you're in those infirmities, man, when you're in your weakest state, that's when the Lord's strength is made perfect within us. That's when Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is working through us to complete whatever we have to complete in that moment, man. You see? So look, man, you just had to endure these things. It says, 2 Corinthians 11:24, it says, of the Jews 5 times received I 40 stripes save 1. Thrice was I beaten with rods, once was I stoned. Thrice I suffered shipwreck. A night and a day have I been in the deep. Damn. It says, in journeyings often, in perils of water, in perils of robbers, in perils by my own countrymen, in perils by the heathen, in perils in the city, in perils in the wilderness, in perils in the sea, in perils among false brethren. You see? So Paul was dealing with false brethren, shipwrecks, being stoned, being beaten, going into prison, sometimes even dying, man. And even despite going through all these things, right? We just read in the next chapter that he'd rather glory in his infirmities, man. And if that doesn't put the spirit on you to just take it on the chin, whatever you're going through, man, and go hard for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man, and not take this truth for granted, then I don't know what else to tell you, man. You see? So with that, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. I want to give out praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Hakudash. The honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone taught us this truth. Shalom and Kwam Yasharallah.